What is an underrated cost when claiming R&D tax relief? Stick around and find out on today's episode of the R&D Tax Show. Let's go! Welcome to the R&D Tax Show, where we help accountants, tax advisors, and their clients claim R&D tax relief. So today we're going to talk about a cost that doesn't get much, I don't want to say credit, but it's not generally seen as a cost that is usually high in R&D tax claim. Unless you look at specific industries like engineering and manufacturing. So that might give you a clue what we're going to talk about. And if you're thinking consumables, bingo, you're right. We're going to talk about consumables. So firstly, what the hell is a consumable? Because it sounds quite, who uses that word? Well, I've got a simple brain, so I just call it materials. But it also includes things like utilities that you can include in the R&D tax claim. Now, what is a consumable? As in, what can be claimed in the R&D tax claim? Because you can't just claim any material. This material has to be used and transformed in the R&D tax claim. So, for example, let's say if I'm making a machine and I've bought some sort of metal sheet to put into the machine and I've bent it and put holes in it, that sheet is different to what it was from the start. So it's been transformed and I can't reuse it. So it's been consumed. So I can include that part in the R&D tax claim. When claiming for consumables, it can get a bit tricky because just think of an engineering firm and they can have millions in cost of like raw materials and consumables and parts. So would it be expected of them to sift through all their details to capture all the invoices they paid for to buy these parts? No. So HMRC does let you take a practical approach to these things. So let's say if they spent £1 million on consumables in the year, you can take a proportion of that, based on different things. But as long as you can justify in the R&D tax claim why you used that proportion or that apportionment method, then that'll be okay. One thing you need to look out for. So let's say I get a customer asking me to build a bespoke drone for them. Obviously, I try and test different parts to build this drone, but some parts will remain in the final product. So let's say I've made a prototype and I'm going to sell them the actual prototype. That is the final product. The parts on that final product, I cannot claim for those because that will be treated as being production and not R&D. So always remember to not include costs for production. One final thing before I go, please remember you can only claim for consumables that have been paid for by the claimant. So it doesn't have to be paid for by the time the accounts are by the year end, but it has to be paid for before the R&D tax claim for that year is submitted to HMRC. Really, really important. So what's a summary of today's episode? Consumables can be claimed. The thing must be transformed and consumed in the process of R&D. If you've got any questions, just drop them down here or on LinkedIn. You can join our Facebook group, the link's below. And also we've got this tool for accountants. If you don't want to learn about all the ins and outs of R&D, you just want to go through a quick box ticking exercise with your client to quickly identify whether they qualify, this tool is perfect for you. And that's in the link below. Take care, everyone. Catch you next week.